and we will get started here. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Again, my name is Paul Cooley, and in this BusinessSure webinar, we are covering the 7 most important things your website must have to be effective. And my name is Paul Cooley. For those of you that don't know, I am founder of ruleyourrealm.com, and I help purpose-minded entrepreneurs discover their why and get clear on their mission in business and life. We help people with from all different things, from online marketing to expressing their brand through social media and all that kind of good stuff. Today we are covering, like I said, all about websites today. We're talking about how to make sure you can take this information, what we're going to talk about today, and kind of examine your own website and see maybe there's different areas in your website that could maybe use some improvement, or maybe you guys are doing just fine. But this should hopefully really help you guys examine your own website and see maybe where you could start testing, tweaking, changing some things to see if your website starts performing even better. It is important to understand that your website is either working for you or against you. And when you come to that realization, good things can start to happen, because you start to begin to realize that your website should be more than just an online brochure. So let me cover this real quick here. Your website should be more than just a virtual business card or brochure. So keep that in mind. I've heard so many people start to say, hey, it's just supposed to be an online brochure. Well, that's more of an old school way of thinking. And I don't mean that as an insult, but it just kind of is, because when things are done right, the website should be doing more than just showing people, hey, I'm here. It should be doing more, which we're going to be getting into. So don't think of your website as a virtual brochure. It should accomplish the same, but even more, which we'll get into. Your website should be grabbing your target audience's attention. And I do want to specify, notice I do say target audience. Your website is not going to be all things to all people. Your website should be targeted towards a specific group, a specific audience that are going to want what you're offering, whether it's a product or service. So make sure your website is not too broad and too bland, because as you start to become more broad, you really, chances are, is going to start blending into everyone else. So when you're highly targeted, good things happen, because your target audience goes, hey, this guy, this girl, this company is totally the person I've been looking for. They're the authority on this topic, this industry, this whatever. So keep that in mind as well. Your website should also be converting, which goes back to my first point, where it should be more than just a virtual brochure. Your website should be converting, and we are going to dig into more of what exactly that looks like. But if you're not getting maybe people calling you, setting appointments, maybe contacting you, opting into maybe an offer, an email offer, if they're not converting or straight up purchasing something off your website, depending on what you do, something's wrong. And we're going to get into why that could be. So step number 1, and hope you're taking notes. If not, we are recording this, so if you need the recording, definitely let me know. But step number 1 is you want to make sure your website is responsive. Now, what does that mean exactly? That could be a new term to you. Let me dig into this. So your site must be mobile friendly. Now, this is something that's definitely been a hotter topic for the last few years, but even more so probably in the last year and a half, just because of the trends people are seeing, and because changes that Google thank you, Nicole, I appreciate that. Just because of changes Google has been implementing in their algorithms. So 2 things. One thing to keep in mind is with Google's algorithm change, because they are obviously the leader in search engines and all that good stuff, they know that and they start basically penalizing people in their website if their site was not mobile friendly. Meaning, if your site was not mobile friendly, there was a really good chance that your site would not show up in the search engines. Basically, hey, if your site's not mobile friendly, we're not going to index you in these different mobile searches and whatnot. They were all about creating an experience for people, their visitors, under the search term. So if I was searching for maybe an automotive part, they would not show sites that were not mobile friendly. They would only bring up sites that were mobile friendly for that auto part that I was looking for. So just as an example there. Now, there was a time, especially a few years ago, when it came to making a site mobile friendly, there were different plugins, different scripts that people would implement into sites. But you probably know what I'm talking about. They were super ugly, where you go to a website on your phone, and it's just like a bunch of buttons. There's just a bunch of bars. I mean, there was no graphics. It was just really kind of ugly. So by being on the mobile side, you had no clue what the site actually looked like. I mean, it was bare bone basics, right? Now things have changed, and this is where responsive has come in rather than just mobile friendly. So when I say responsive, it is definitely mobile friendly, but it's not the ugly mobile friendly. Here's an example. Uh-oh, my screen just froze. There we go. You know what? Let me back out of this real quick here. I've got, you can't see it, but I've got the script that keeps popping up for the webinar. There we go. So this is kind of an example of a responsive design. And this is where no matter what size screen you have, no matter if you're on a desktop, laptop, tablet, or mobile phone, your website will automatically adjust and still be viewable no matter what tablet they're on, no matter what computer they're on, no matter what smartphone they're on. This is what responsive looks like. Now, in this example, you will notice that you might not notice as much of a difference between the desktop and the laptop. I mean, maybe there's a couple words at the bottom that are missing, which makes sense because it's a smaller screen, right? But then as you look over into the tablet and smartphone section, now is where you start seeing the site look a little bit more different. Now, different as in you still see the site as it is, but now things are starting to adjust. And that's basically what it means. The responsive design is it responds to what you're looking at. How many have been to a site on your phone where you had to like pinch the screen? You know what I mean? Or to get it to zoom up where you could actually read what the words were, because if it wasn't mobile friendly, maybe it was like I can see the site, but the text is not even readable because it's so stinking small. So for the responsive, what's nice is the pictures, the graphics, everything adjusts accordingly, but the text remains in a readable size, which is very cool and makes the overall experience much easier on the visitor, which is what you're going for. Because, and let me actually share this with you, this is important stuff, is Google says that 61% of users are unlikely to return to a mobile site if they had trouble accessing it, and 40% visit a competitor site instead. So if somebody's on their smartphone, they're looking for whatever service or whatever product that you're offering, and they have a bad experience because your site's not responsive, chances are they're not going to come back. They're going to go look for a competitor site, and we can even dig a little deeper here with some of these other stats. And there's tons of stats. I mean, feel free to Google this. There's tons of stats in mobile device, but you are really hurting yourself if your site is not responsive. 40%, 48% of consumers start mobile research with the search engine. Now, why do I bring this up? Is because think about this. Your computer is not in front of you 24/7. But most likely your phone is. I mean, there's people that fall asleep with their phone in their bed, or it's right next to them, maybe on their bedstand, next to their head, and they're constantly checking it. And you should have seen some stats for that. I mean, how many times people look at their phone and how many times this, that, and the other. So when it comes to that, people are more prone to search something on their phone out of convenience than wait till they get on their computer, because we are in that microwave mentality where I want the answer now, now, now. They're going to go to their phone because it's super convenient. So keep that in mind again. No matter what you're offering, what you're selling, if it's not responsive, you're really hurting yourself. Now, 57% of users say that they will not recommend a business with a poorly designed mobile site because, and there's multiple reasons for this. Not only is it due maybe out of frustration because they did not have a good experience on their mobile device, on your website, but it also, see, this is representing you. You gotta, it's really important to understand that is your website is representing you, your brand. And so if you have a site that is outdated, or if you have a site that is not working correctly, what is that really overall saying about you to them? Now, you might think, well, it's just a website, and that's not my service. That's not the awesome product or service that I offer. But in their minds, it's all an experience with you, even though they might not actually be dealing with you directly. So please keep that in mind. That's why this is so important. Now, step number two, I am going to try going through this quickly because I want to respect your time, and we could really spend hours talking about all this. So the whole point and goal of this webinar is to really give you a quick rundown of these 7 steps so that you can then examine your own site. So again, we could elaborate on much more on every point, but I want to respect your time. So step number 2 is making sure that your site is modern and up to date. Now, this this is something that has been a very interesting experience. And if any of you are in more web design or have been dealing with websites, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because and personally, I've done hundreds of website assessments over the last couple of years, and possibly I've done one for you, but I've done hundreds of these things, and it is amazing to see how many people have outdated websites and they do not know that they have an outdated website. They think it looks good. They think it's just fine. And really it's not. And I don't say that to be mean, and I don't say that to try to get you to hire me. I'm saying that because, once again, to my last point, is your website is representing you and your brand. And so if your website is saying, hey, I'm out of date, what is that saying about you? Is it saying that you're out of date? That's not good. You're not going to get customers that way. So we want to make sure that your website is expressing your brand in a professional, clean, modern way. And it all depends on your brand. All depends on your brand. If you have some kind of old school brand, still you want a modern site, but maybe still represents the old school style. There's many different variables to that, but I guess the main point is you don't want an outdated site. Now, how do you know if you have an outdated site? Now, this is an extreme example. Some of you might even remember sites that look like this. This is actually, it's kind of funny. You can Google world's worst websites and whatnot, and basically people have put this together just to bring back the memories of what people used to do on websites with the counters and the ads and the flash and the stuff running and scrolling all over the place, and you're like, where the heck do my eyes go? What should I be looking at? So this is an extreme example that you do not want. You do not want this. But now let me show you something here. And I don't know who this company is, so just this disclaimer: I grabbed this screenshot off of Google, and I did that on purpose because I did not want to, I didn't want to offend anybody. So hopefully this isn't you. But here's a site. Now, it's not a bad looking site, but I want to stress the fact that this style site is on its way out the door. And in some opinions, mine, it's completely out the door. But now keep in mind, although this is not a bad looking site, it is on its way out. If you're really wanting to stay like really, really up with the times. Now, I believe this site would still work for this person. I'm not putting this site down. Chances are it still works fine. Hopefully, I don't know the person, so hopefully it is really expressing their brand correctly. It appears that they're doing a fairly good job there. There's definitely room for improvement, but there you go. Oh, these guys are based in the UK. Okay, I'm probably really good then. Um, but what do you do if you think this is just awesome and up to date? Because technically, it's not. I want to give you some examples of that. Actually, let me back out of this, and I'm going to bring up Chrome real quick. And actually, let me just check, make sure we're good with everybody. Let me know if anyone has any questions. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, let me back out of this real quick. Now, I want to show you a couple sites here. Now, here's my site. what this is full width. Now, this is the direction many websites are going, is full width sites. And this is where, meaning it starts on the left and goes all the way to the right. And there's no, just like in my example there, there's no border. Let me go back to this slide right here, right there. Notice how, there's like a background in the site, and then you have the content. So that style is starting to go out. Full width is like the new thing. Now, I'm not saying if you don't have full width, your site sucks. I'm not saying that, but I'm trying to give you an idea of what styles are the in now. Having more of what's known as a parallax style that's scrolled down. Now, the reason why is, see, so many people were resistant to this in the beginning, where I don't want my site scrolling and scrolling. What if people don't know how to scroll? Well, I got a couple opinions on that, but it's one of those things where you still have the navigation, you still have call to actions. And the purpose why I actually have a little bit showing here above the fold is to show people, hey, you can keep going. There's ones that have arrows where you can scroll down and it goes down. I mean, there's tons of ways of doing this, but when it scrolls, it makes such a better user experience for someone on a mobile device, because I'm not having to click on a button, waiting for that to load or waiting for a whole new page to open up. I can just scroll and see exactly what I need, click on it, and go. Does that make sense? So this is just one style, now, and I've got some different styles to show you here. So here's another style. Once again, full width, and it's nice, it's clean, it's modern. Notice how it's not necessarily hard on the eyes, where if you're looking at, for example, this, or especially this, you don't know where your eyes are supposed to go. You don't know, okay, where am I really supposed to go? And I think probably this section here for these guys is probably the best section for them, because people visually see, okay, it looks like he does this, 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 and so forth. Now, it's important to keep in mind, though, that we look at websites the way we've been taught to read books in school, top to bottom, left to right. That's why many times you'll see the logo in the upper left, and then it continues to go this way. Excuse me, there's heat maps and different statistics that prove this, but this is why you want the layout nice and clean, where you don't have a bunch of craziness going on, where you don't know where my eyes are supposed to go. So this right here, it's nice and clean, it's modern, there's a lot of white space. I know exactly how I want to read this, and I can keep going and go, okay, well, this makes sense, great. Okay, cool, testimonials, great. And then I can continue just to scroll down and get a very good understanding of what I'm supposed to do, which obviously in this case is schedule a demo. I hope that makes sense. So here's another example. So again, to the point of, oh no, what if they don't know how to scroll? For example, this site has that option where I can click, and I didn't do that. Watch, I click the button and it automatically goes down to the next section, where now I can just continue to go down to each section and get an idea of where I want to go, what I want to do. Now, in the design process of your site, it's important to keep in mind, hey, I can use this as a journey. I can, oh, you know what? Let me pull up another. This is a perfect example here. This is kind of an interesting example. I didn't even think of this beforehand. Let me see if I can find her real quick here. Where's her website? I should have thought about this sooner. Boy, I actually don't see it. I could have swore that was the name of her site. Maybe she doesn't have the site optimized. I wanted to give you a really cool example. This might be it. Wow, maybe not. All right, well, I'm sorry, guys. I really wanted to give you another example here. Let me just see. That is her thing, though. I can tell by the font because of how she branded herself. Interesting that it's not coming up. Okay, maybe her site's on maintenance. So my point in wanting to show you that is you can also use these sections to actually tell a story and take people through Maybe this is where you are. If you picture the first section talking about your prospect, I understand that this is the kind of struggle you're in, and then you move to the next section, and I understand this about you, but I also understand maybe the pain up here, and then maybe, hey, I found a solution, and here's my story, and then this is where I can give you, and I see that a lot with more on the coaching side of things, but it's really cool, and then on the mobile device, it's nice and easy as well. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going. I got others to show you. I'm just wondering if I can wait here. Again, just this is a totally different style. And this is for a restaurant, but again, more of the parallax style, scrolling through, and there's different buttons that they can click on throughout the thing, but it's just nice and clean. They wanted this one highly visual, um, different place for contact and so forth. So I just want to give you guys that example real quick. So this is definitely where things are going, is more of this modern style. And you can go many different ways, many different styles, but it's something to keep in mind because it's nice and clean and it's very, very simple. So here's another one. So again, it doesn't have to be overly complicated, but it's enough to where it's nice and clean, it's modern, and people go, yes, that's what I like, that's what I want. So I hope that makes sense, guys. It's important to really understand where the standard is currently, so you can kind of keep up with that. Now, you will notice too, from Apple to Google to car dealers like well-known Chevy, Dodge. I mean, you all these big sites are going more to the parallax style, or maybe I should say they're not going, they're there. They've been there for a while, especially Apple. As you go through and look at the different iPhones, I mean, it's totally this parallax scrolling down experience, and they're walking you through and they're giving you an experience this way. So I hope that makes sense. If you're not standing out, you're blending in. And so if you have a site just like your competitors, if you have a site that is old and outdated, you might stand out, but for the wrong reasons, but you're really going to be blending in. You're not standing out for the right reasons. You're not giving them a good experience. And with doing so, in their minds now, you're not the guy or the girl for them. They're going to go now start looking for competitors. So keep that in mind. I hope that's good information for you. That's just an important thing to keep in mind. So step number 3 is proper messaging. Now, here is something that I know many struggle with, and here's what I'm talking about. If your messaging is blending in as well, you are not going to grab their attention at all. Having the proper messaging, which consists of, let me say this here, brands that engage their consumers emotionally can command prices 20% to 200% higher than competitors. Now, why do I say that? Because through proper messaging, you can engage your visitors on your website in a way that your competitors are not. So here's an example. On your website, you should be expressing a USP, a unique selling proposition. What is the offer? What is the promise? What is the thing that makes you unique rather than your competitors? Are you able to offer things, premium services at a discounted price? Are you able to get your customer to save money rather than your competitors? Is yours better quality than your competitors? Can you deliver it in a shorter amount of time than your competitors? What experience is different? Quickly, was it Domino's? Now I'm drawing a blank. Where they deliver in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. They came up with that USP, and it kept them on the map while everyone was struggling, including them. They came up with this promise that none of their competitors were offering, and it kept them on the map, and they're still around. See, so having a USP on there is very important. Your website should also express what you offer very, very easily, so there's not to get confused. For example, that site that I showed you, the UK site, the what was it, handyman site. I mentioned how those bottom, I think there were six or eight boxes at the bottom, probably was the best thing for him because it visually it expressed what he did, and then he had the right messaging on there, so you knew, okay, this handyman does this, and this. When you go to a site, you should not be confused on what that person is offering. You should not be confused on, and I've been to sites where I'm like, I do not know what you are doing. I had to politely tell someone that not long ago, where they're like, "Hey, can you do a website assessment?" Actually, I've done that twice last month, where I'm like, I have no clue what your goal is with this website, and I have no clue what you're offering. I don't get the point at all. I mean, you have a website now, but I don't understand what it is. And if I don't understand it and others don't understand it, there's no way anyone's going to be doing anything with you, because they're not going to be buying from you. That's for sure. They're not going to be signing up. They're just going to go, okay. And they're going to hit the back button and keep going. So make sure that you are properly expressing what you are offering. Your website should also show the human side of your brand, which we'll get into in a little bit. Your website should also express your vision and mission. Now, this is something that's a whole training in and of itself, but you should. I would assume, many people on their website have an about page. Sometimes they do have like a history or, whatever. And then some do have what our mission is. Now, for example, if you are in business doing something for a greater cause, maybe you are donating a certain percentage of your profits to an organization. Maybe an example might be, well, here's just one quick example here. These guys here, they are all about melanoma awareness and prevention. So these guys, and it's on another page here, but they're all about melanoma awareness, and so they donate a certain percentage of their profits to an organization that does that. And with that, now people know, hey, when I go here, I'm also not only getting my hair done, I am supporting a cause. And especially if that's a cause that I really are connected with, or there's an emotional connection there, you better believe I'm going to pick you above the competitor every time, because now I know it almost feels like I'm doing something to join your cause, to join your purpose. And so when you can properly express what your vision is, what your mission is, and there are stats like crazy that prove this, is when people are associated with a cause, profits boost up, loyalty boosts up, even employee retention boosts. And there's examples of many different kinds of businesses that are all about, if you buy one pair of shoes from us, we'll donate a pair to people who don't have shoes. And if you donate to this, then we'll make sure everyone, 5 people get a bottle of water that don't have water. There's different things like that. But it's amazing to me, though, as at the same time, I was dealing with a company not long ago, and they were all about serving their veterans. Very patriotic company, and this is a big company, and they did great things all throughout the year for veterans. And I went, how are people supposed to know you do this? And they're like, oh, well, we tell our employees. I don't know. And I said, well, what about the people that are buying from you? How do people know that this is something that's close to your guys' heart? I mean, this is a part of who you guys are. And it wasn't on their website, except one page that was hidden, and they weren't posting any of it on social media until I showed up and I said, hey, this is what we're doing. And then it was awesome, because it got such an awesome response from people, because now, who doesn't want to support our veterans? You know what I'm saying? And so now there is a cause and a purpose tied to that brand that was not there before. So if you guys have something that's close to your heart that you're doing, whatever it may be, make sure that's on your website. Obviously, it's not going to take over the whole website, but you do want to mention it and make it clear to people that this is a part of who we are. And when you're doing business with us, you're helping support blah, 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 whatever that is. So anyway, you also need to make sure you have a clear call to action or multiple calls to action on your website. It's a bummer when you go to the website and you want more, the visitor wants more, but there's nothing more for them to do because there's no real call to action. It's important to think of it kind of like a shepherd herding sheep. And think of your visitors as sheep. And this is not a bad way, and you're the shepherd. So it's your job on the website to make sure you are strategically guiding them through the website to get them to ultimately where you want them, whether it's on a shopping cart, whether it's them filling out a form, an opt-in form to request something, whatever it may be. You've got to be clear on what that call to action is, and you need to be clear on how you're going to get them there. So I hope all that makes sense as well. Something to think about. Does your website look like your competitor's site? Now, I'm sure many of you have and are aware of your competitors and who they are. Now, here's a mistake that I see people make when they're trying to do the exact opposite of be outdated and all that kind of stuff. What they'll do is they'll straight up copy the competitors. And by doing so, now it creates this blending in effect, because now you and your competitors now look the same again. Now, it's awesome if you want to look modern. If they look modern, you look modern. That's great. But having the proper messaging, the proper visuals, the proper call to actions on there, all of that kind of stuff is going to be huge. And when you really understand who you are, what your brand is about, that's when you can make it more unique. Because if you're just trying to copy your competitors, now you're in a price war again. But when you have a unique selling proposition, and when you have a mission, and when you have a purpose, and it's all properly expressed on the website, now you're standing out above them. Now it doesn't have to be about a price war. Now it can be about, who do I really want to be loyal to? An example. Here's another example real quick here, just to give you guys more examples here. So here's these guys actually just recently redid their site. First Form is a company that I get my workout supplements from. And I've actually used these guys in almost every other webinar I've done with you guys in the recent months, just because I think they've done such an amazing job building a culture, especially on social media and whatnot. But I want you to notice, okay, full width again, and it's not necessarily a long parallax style. Here, the visuals are good. They've got the wording and all that kind of stuff. And they actually launched this like 2 days ago, so that's why it's welcome to our new site. But the visuals, the wording, all of it is very easy to understand. Go, yes, okay. Then it immediately goes into their products. Why? Because that's why you're on their site. They don't need a whole bunch of wasted real estate. They go straight into some of their core products. Then what's cool is, and this is kind of new, you can then choose by goal. What's my goal? Do I want to build muscle? Do I want to lose weight? And then from there, it takes me on a journey, right? I really like this. And then they've implemented social media. So people who are posting using one of their hashtags, it automatically shows up here, which again, there's a lot of strategy behind that, but it builds an amazing culture. And it's a smart move. So again, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. This is the kinds of styles that many are going to. And I should say, it's also, mobile friendly as well. So anyway, hope that makes sense there. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're looking like your competitors, there's probably something wrong. You don't want to look like your competitors. You should want to look clean. You should want to look modern and up to date. Absolutely. But what then can you do to step it up a notch and not be like your competitors? Does that make sense? I hope that does. So let's look at some examples of some other sites here. Now, I've shown you quite a few already, so I want to actually, let me back up here. Uh-oh. Okay, actually, let me hold off on showing you, because there's one site in particular I want to show you that's going to be different than everything else I've shown you, which ties into Humanized. So you want to make sure you've humanized your brand. And I'm going to give you an example of that in just a second here. What does this mean? Now, this is something I've been talking about for the last few years, because I think there's an important point here, is people are working with you. They're not hiring your logo. They're not working with your logo. They are working with you. You have a face. Your logo doesn't. Now, I'm not discounting the importance of a logo, but you need to not necessarily be scared of showing your face. And I've seen this so often where people just do not want their face involved. But on the psychological standpoint, if I'm doing business with people, I want to see your face. There's a connection that happens when it's face to face. I don't want to see the logo all the time. So Just a couple examples here. So, for example, again, my site, you can't be afraid to show you. Now, I am more of a personal brand. I'm not necessarily. I sold my agency. I'm not an agency anymore, and whatnot. So, since it's a personal brand, it totally makes sense, right, to have me in there. But even if you're not, maybe you're an insurance agency, maybe you're a coffee shop, maybe you're something where it's like, no, we offer legitimate services or we offer legitimate products. Where do I fit into all of that? Well, there can be simple ways of doing that. For example, on your About page or a Meet the Team page. And I've been very happy to see that many have finally accepted this to where they're not as afraid to show their face. I don't know who these two sites are, so I'm not promoting them. I randomly picked some just because of the fact that I didn't want to exploit anybody here. But this is a good example of nice, clean, modern. I like the circles. And then there's a lot of things that can be done here. Sometimes these are clickable, where then it goes to a full-blown bio. This one in particular goes to their Twitter account. But it's kind of a cool thing where you can click on a face, a name, and then something will pop up or it will take you to a bio about that person. And I'll tell you, the bios that have always stood out more are the ones that aren't afraid to break the corporate mold and just become a person. And obviously, that needs to be done strategically, but when you express, hey, I am a real person, you're a real person. These are my dreams, these are my goals, this is why I do what I do. Now I have something to connect with and go, yeah, I like that. Yeah, me too. Or whatever it might be. Or at the very, very least, at least when I pick up the phone and I know I'm going to hit your receptionist on the phone, at least, oh, there's the receptionist. Okay, now I've got a face to the voice. And this is all about humanizing the brand there. So there's been a lot of resistance in the past years, but like I said, I'm glad to see more and more people doing this. I would say then is the pictures all need to help express your brand. So if you have a really like creative, fun, wacky brand, then your pictures should probably express that. Now notice that there's a different background in each one. These guys, it's more of the same background. Excuse me. Take a drink of water real quick here. But it's all about properly expressing your brand. And so depending on what style you are, yeah, it should be expressed there. Now, I went actually, well, let me go back one here. I'm getting out of order here. I want to show you something real quick here about the humanizing your brand. The reason why I'm picking this lady out is because I thought she's done such an excellent job. Now, please understand, like, this isn't going to be for everybody, but I just want to give you visually some ideas here of different ways, kind of thinking outside the box. Now, this is a very unique style. Now, I want to point out, once again, more of a parallax scrolling style, full width, but this lady is a communication stylist and specializes more in copywriting and things of that nature. Excuse me. So what's cool is in this, the graphic immediately catches your eye, right? Even without knowing what she does, the dress, what she's holding, all this kind of stuff immediately catch your eye, and you start like reading the words and okay, communication stylist. Okay, what does this mean? Now she goes into what she's doing. I'm not a wardrobe stylist, but now check this out. This is what's cool is, and I'm actually getting ahead of myself on this one too. We'll come back to this site, but she brings in the sales copy in wording that you really get a feel for her personality. So I'll dig into this in a minute here. But notice parallax, and then it goes into, okay, this is what you need to do, and walks them through a step of what she's doing. And it's just a super unique style, I guess. We're going to get more into this. We'll come back to this site in just a minute here. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. So what we are doing here is you want to introduce them to a mission. And I talked about the purpose and mission, but I want to give you even a better visual of this. When it's on your website, what you can do is, and this is actually on that lady's website, is with her, she's making a bold statement that giving back is baked into my business plan. And I like this because on so many levels, not only is she just going, at such and such, we donate so much to blah, blah, blah. She puts more of a personality into this, which as she should, being a communication stylist, but she brings in personality. She brings in pictures to prove what her mission is and goes into why she's doing it. I really like this, how it's all talking about giving back to these different, I can't remember what's the name of the place. I guess helps read the whole thing, but helping build these schools, helping build all these on these different places in Uganda and whatnot. I like this because now when working with her, not only do you get a good understanding of her personality, her style, her results that she can provide, but now I also know not only am I getting all this awesome stuff from her, I'm also helping support to build these schools in Uganda and whatnot. So does that make sense? I hope that does. It's important because you're introducing them to your mission in that. Now, step 5 is sales copy, and then we're going to bounce back to her site in just a minute here. Again, so often, and I understand why, because writing sales copy really is a skill set. Copywriting is known as the $1 million skill. So I understand why most people lack this on their website. It makes perfect sense, but it doesn't mean it should go unnoticed and unaddressed. And so with that, having proper sales copy on your website is also a really important thing for multiple reasons. Words sell unless they suck. So with that, let me explain what that means here. When you have the proper sales copy, the proper words on your website, you can help show them, hey, this is who I am. As well as when you know who your target audience is, you can write that sales copy specifically to them. So it's like you're reading their mind. It doesn't even have to be a sales page, but on the website itself, it can totally, it's just like, wow, this person must have gone through exactly what I'm dealing with. And man, I mean, they get me. That's how it should feel to them. They should feel like you understand them, not this person's trying to sell me something. See the difference there? If I say, hey, we're having a sale on blah, 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 buy one now, I'm just trying to sell you something. But if I word that differently, go, hey, I understand the pain that you're in, and this is the solution that I found, which it'd be a lot better than that, but you get the idea, where now I'm taking the time to address the pain that you're going through. Hey, and then you introduce a solution. It's not just, hey, buy one now. See what I'm saying? They should feel like through your sales copy that you are the authority in your niche or your industry by the information that you provide. That is really what you want to be expressing. You want to say, hey, I get this. I get you. And I have the information, and how I express that information through my words, through my sales copy. It shows them that I am the leader and I understand whatever that is, whether it is a hairstylist or insurance, I mean, whatever. This is my realm. I understand it, and I am the best, and that's why you need to work with me. But done in a way where you're not having to actually say that. You're wording it in a way that says something different, but ultimately that is the position that you're going to hold in the minds of your target audience. Now, the webinar software just popped up again, so I apologize. Hold on here. Let me minimize this so I can get back to the webinar. There we go. So it's important to keep that in mind. It really should make them want more. If your sales copy is good, it should make them say, I just want to keep reading. I want everything you've got, because I know you've got the solution to help me acquire. You've got the solution to help me avoid the pain, which are two key triggers in people. It should compel them that they want to go to the next level with you, whether that's opting in, whether that's buying, whether that's signing up, whether that's hiring you, whatever it is. Your sales copy should ultimately want to compel them to get to know you better and to take that next step with you. It should properly express ultimately your brand and who you are. Now, let me go back. So just an example, going back to Nikki's site here. So this part right here. Okay, so I'm not a wardrobe stylist. In fact, I spend most of my days in my pajama pants. I am, however, a wardrobe stylist. So right there shows you her personality, her writing style, and it makes you go, oh, ha ha ha. So that's going to appeal to some people versus others. Now, the ones that does not appeal to, they're going to back out. And I can guarantee you she is totally fine with that, because she wants people who think this is funny. Yeah, that's witty, that's smart, that's funny. I like it. And then she continues to take people on a journey where now she's expressing what she does down in here, how she's doing it, and now let's talk about it. So then she goes into kind of her steps in what she does, and then with a call to action. Okay, if as I'm reading through this, yes, okay, I want to know more. Okay, and that's where then I can take the next step, right? So at the same time, let's say I'm here. I'm going to go to a completely different page real quick. Notice, and again, just the uniqueness of this. The style, the complete style just changed, still full width, still parallax, but the wording, the font size, the font style, I mean, all these things are all done on purpose. None of that's on accident. We're now, again, because we're doing the work with me page, now she's taking you through this journey where maybe she can get you started on $99 program. Let's get some testimonials in there. Oh, now there's a course. It's $199, and you're taking them on this journey, right? Now the next course I think is $1,000 or $2,000. That I think the last one. But that's the kind of thing that she's done a really, really good job at. Again, totally different page, testimonials, and then she goes into all the different testimonials and social proof that she is legit. So this is also a very good reminder, guys, that you want to have these testimonials on your website. It's an important thing for sure. Okay, so with that, this is just another example of compelling copy. This is a screenshot taken off of a page from a copywriter, actually. How to write the words that sell your product, services, and ideas. Now, that's totally simple, but after talking about what we just talked about, this probably looks pretty good now. Yeah, I want to learn how to write words that sell my products. Obviously, my products aren't selling, my words aren't converting. So I need to learn what words to use, how to write something that really expresses my personality, my brand, to get them to want to take the next step. So that is part of how that goes. Step number 6, I'm going to move through this quickly here because I am going to get you out of here at the top of the hour. Convert visitors into leads and customers. This is something, again, goes back to my original statement that your website should not just be a brochure. It should be something that is converting. So converting visitors into leads and customers. Your site has to be more than that. So you got to almost get rid of that mentality that's just a brochure, just a business card. But no, this is something that will generate leads. This will generate prospects. This will generate customers. Some examples of this could be something like having a lead magnet. Now, I've given examples like this before, where on my website, on almost every website that I've shown you today, there is a place where there's some kind of lead magnet. Whether it's what we just saw in the screenshot above, where, hey, yeah, I'm going to click on the button because I want to get the videos on how to write compelling copy, or maybe I want to be more productive and I want to get that free report. So you're offering something of value to them. So it could be offering a free report. It could be offering a video series. It could be offering a recorded webinar. I mean, it really could be. It could be an infographic. It could be a consultation of some sort. But whatever it is, they are opting in to get this from you immediately. Okay. Next step then would be I should clarify that the form is on your site. This strategy also works for landing pages and whatnot, but you should have a form on your site, and probably in multiple places, not just a form that's on your contact page, but on all these other areas of your site, somewhere where they're going to see it and go, yes, that's what I want. Especially after reading a little bit of the copy, seeing the imagery. Yes, I connect with this person. I connect with this brand. I want more information. It could actually even be not even a report, but it could be, sign up for coupon, newsletter, some kind of special. Anyway, once they opt in on your form, they're immediately going to get an email with the download link to your free report, the download link to your coupon, whatever it is that you're giving them immediately on an autoresponder. And probably next month, we're going to get into email marketing. So let me know if that sounds good. We're going to probably do email marketing next month. So, but with that, having the proper system in place that can do this is important. So they get that. Sweet. Now they've got your stuff. Now a couple things have just been accomplished. So now they've got some value from you in that report, in that whatever they just downloaded. They're going to get a taste of what you offer and how you offer it and all that good stuff. If it's been done correctly, it's going to build that rapport, that trust. They're going to want to take the next step with you. What's also happened when they clicked on that is that visitor, or now technically a subscriber, is put on an autoresponder email sequence that will continue to build rapport and authority with them. So immediately they get the email with a link, they download it, but then maybe a couple days later, a week later, they get another email from you. If it's a video sequence, maybe for the first 3 to 5 days, they're getting an email from you every day with these videos. But then it goes to once a week, once a month, whatever. But now you can keep you in front of them. In my personal opinion, it is never too soon to start building an email list. Yeah, just again, we'll talk about that more probably next month. Now, this email sequence is designed to build rapport, but it's also designed to help them take the next step with you. So you're giving them an opportunity to buy a product, sign up for a course, schedule an appointment with you, whatever it might be, you want that. And through those email sequences, it could be story based, it could be very short, it could be long. I mean, there's tons of ways of doing that, but that's what you want. If you don't have this, your system is lacking and your website's not going to be as effective as it could be. Now, if you go advanced email, based on their actions of what they're doing with the emails, if they're clicking on links, if they're forwarding, if they're just deleting, if they're not opening, that action will determine what kind of emails they receive next. Now, that's advanced stuff, which we'll get into next month. For example, here's my site again. I'm testing something out on this site right now where there are 4 different things. So if you go to my site, okay, what area do you need help ruling, right? So is it brand and message marketing? Is it clarity on your vision and purpose? Is it making your dreams and goals a reality? Is it ruling your wealth? And so when someone's on the site, they can click on one of those, a little checkbox comes up, and then a box pops up where they can sign up and then immediately get access to that thing. By doing that, I'm now segmenting my list compared to just saying, hey, sign up for my newsletter. And now I've got a broad audience with a newsletter. This is telling me exactly what they want. See what I'm saying? So see what I'm doing there? It's telling me exactly the things that interest them the most, which now means I can adjust accordingly and continue to give very targeted messages to that person that's expressed interest in that specific thing. So, kind of cool. Then here's an example of just another thing. So this could be in one of maybe the parallax sections of a site. It could be on a sidebar. It could be a pop-up. We can talk about that at some other time. But hey, enter your email address below and I'll send you this worksheet. Now, obviously, this is just a screenshot. So there's more in this area. That's what kind of download, what kind of worksheet this is. But think about this. Think about what you do. What kind of worksheet could you make up? What kind of PDF could you do? What kind of checklist could you do that offers value? Hey, here's a 10 step checklist of things to avoid if you want to achieve blank. And that would then lead into what you specialize in. I mean, you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of cool things you can do there. And I probably mentioned this enough. So free quotes, reports, video series, consultations, whatever. Okay, guys, last one. You ready for this? Traffic. Now, without traffic, your website is not going to convert because no one's going to be on your website. So briefly, I want to cover this real quick here. You got to have traffic. No traffic, no visitors. If you're not constantly keeping your brand in front of your tribe, your competitors will take your place. Now, this is why it's so important to implement different traffic strategies to keep yourself in front of them, to get them to come to your website. So how do we do this? Traffic sources could include search engines, right? Like SEO, where you are search engine optimizing your website. Your website is optimized for the search engines. When Google spiders your website, and as well as Yahoo and Bing and all that, it indexed accordingly. Now, for those of you that have looked into this, it is not easy because Google is constantly changing their algorithm. There's so many different variables now. I mean, it's insane. It's not just about keywords; it's about link building. I mean, there's just tons of different things, right, to really be thinking about there. So, but that is one. It's just a very long, more of a long-term strategy rather than a short-term strategy. You also have offline advertising, right? This could be brochures, it could be yellow pages. I think people are still using those. It could be a newspaper ad, it could be radio, it could be, I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could be doing, business cards, um, uh, different things that have your website on there that they can go to at a later time to look you up, probably on their mobile phone. So there's those as well. Now there's also organic social media where you're tweeting, where you're posting stuff on Facebook and Pinterest and all those other ones, right? And keeping your web address in front of them and clickable. Now this is good, but very time consuming, like very time consuming. And with we've talked about this actually last time in our Facebook class, where Facebook is purposefully squelching your posts. If you have a business page, you're probably noticing very few people actually like your posts. And that's because they're doing that on purpose. They're forcing people to pay to play, so to speak, where you have to get involved in their advertising platform to boost those posts, to get them seen to people who have already liked your page. But what's cool about this is it kind of does weed out the people that aren't going to do that. And so if you're willing to step it up a notch and go into the paid advertising section to where I'm going to devote a certain amount of money to boosting posts, I'm going to devote a certain amount of money to actual ads to get them in front of my target audience, which will then lead back to my website, lead back to a specific landing page on my website, whatever it might be. That is the way to go. This, when you are willing to get into paid advertising, and Facebook's just one example. I mean, obviously there's other paid media outlets out there, but with Facebook especially, it's so targeted, and you can just flip it on like a switch almost. If I want traffic, I can flip it on. If I want to stop it, I pause it. And so that can be a great traffic source for you. Many of the analytics that I'm seeing show that the rise in mobile visits has gone way up, and the traffic that comes from social media is one of the highest traffic sources, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, whatever. But those are way higher than organic. And so, again, if you want to do long term, that's great. Focus on SEO. But if you want traffic now, you also probably are going to want to implement some paid advertising. And the reason why I keep saying Facebook rather than other media outlets is because it's super affordable. You choose the budget, and you can kind of get an idea of what results you're going to get with that kind of budget. So I hope all that makes sense, guys. Traffic's important, and all this traffic must be trackable. So you got to have analytics on your website so you know where current traffic's coming from and what keywords are coming in on, and you can continue to adjust and tweak from there. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Oh, I don't know why that was on there. Here, lastly, just real quick, just to give you a visual here. So on this top level of funnels, you have email marketing, search engine, social media, all that kind of stuff, which should funnel them into your website, which is also huge. Once they sign up, once they purchase, once they do something, that puts them on that systemized, that follow-up sequence, which then brings them to higher level of sales. So just a visual for you there. Hopefully that helps. So to review real quick, and I'm going to let you guys go, you want to be responsive. You want your site to be modern and up to date. You want proper messaging. You want to humanize your brand. You want proper sales copy, and you want to convert visitors into leads, prospects, customers, and you want to continue to grow your traffic sources so you can continue to convert. I want to let you guys know, though, as well, is I do offer a complimentary website assessment. So if you'd actually like me to go over your website personally with you via webinar, feel free to go to my website at ruleyourrealm.com. And there's going to be probably the third section down. It's going to be talking about getting clarity. And and there's going to talk about the assessments that I offer that are complimentary. You can sign up there, or feel free, you can always email me directly at paul@ruleyourrealm.com, and we can set something up and I can go over and review your website. So definitely take advantage of that because it is complimentary, no strings attached. All right. So hopefully this has been beneficial for you, and hopefully it's given you some stuff to really think about, excuse me, with your website and what might need to change and might need to be tweaked a little bit. So again, guys, my name is Paul Cooley from ruleyourrealm.com. I hope you have found this very helpful. And next month, most likely, we will be going through email marketing. So I look forward to seeing you guys then. Have a great day, and we will talk to you guys next month. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.